Passes pie quite soon. Might even turn that fucking thing off on the side like there. Is that any better?
I think we're live now. Let me just check.
Yeah.
So what happened with the time actually? Our clock changed 3 days ago.
Okay.
For 1 hour, you know? It was
Mm-hmm.
the time zone is one hour difference. And when I Googled it, it was like 2 hours difference.
Yeah,
So
it's what it probably is, mate, is the clocks changed. The clocks went back.
I
I
don't
was
know what
looking and I thought, oh, what the hell is going on with the clocks? And then I looked on there and I thought, yeah, that's what it is. The clocks changed. So we had I would say probably 2 or 3 days ago, we had a clock change, and I think that's
you also okay. I
yeah.
didn't know if it's everywhere like this, but yeah. How are you doing?
I'm
Good to
okay,
hear.
mate. I'm running around like a blue ass fly this last few days. But other than that, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. What about yourself? Good?
Good. Like I said, a little bit sick. Haven't it? I didn't really. I feel like broken a little bit. I've gone to the doctor today, and she was like, "You're really ill. Your throat is like this. Everything is red. You have fever and stuff." And I was like, I didn't feel so extremely bad. I just
Mm-hmm.
felt like,
Yeah.
like I thought because of the weather change, because the weather we have like one day it's winter here, one day it's plus 20 degrees. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was that, but I look really white a little bit, but
Yeah,
it's
you do look a little pale. On my
yeah,
screen,
yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
looking then, you do look a little pale.
Yeah, but it's good. How you like our t-shirts?
I think
We made
it's
our first
really cool.
t-shirt with a name and everything. We have also one for you. We ordered it. I will bring it
Mate,
to you in Istanbul.
mega. It looks really cool.
Really cool. You know, the background of this is old in old Yugoslavia. You know, we had like
Mm-hmm.
this old rigs that the grandmothers, you know, made like when the grandfathers was in the war and stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's like this stuff, you know. And
All
yeah,
right.
lion and everything, and this scratch here
Yeah,
and the name. It's cool. It's cool. On the
yeah, I
back
think so.
also, it's good. It's cool.
Very good. Good colors as well. The colors,
Yeah. Great colors.
black and gold. It's
I
fantastic.
like it. I like it. I like it. Some people say it's like Versace, but we don't want it to.
Hey,
We didn't want to look at that
Versace
way.
have
But
done okay, mate. If you're looking like Versace, you're gonna be all right. That's
yeah,
gonna be good.
yeah. So Neil, cliche, the interviewer getting interviewed today.
Yeah, it
Um,
should be a nice change. I've been looking
yeah.
forward to it, mate. I know we had it set up, so apologies that I had to
No, it's all
cancel
good.
out a
It's
couple
all
of
good.
times. As I say, it come out of left field that one. Didn't see that one coming at all. But yeah, we're here now, and yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully we can have some fun.
yeah. We will have some fun for sure. And I want to start this by asking you. Yeah, I wanted to introduce you in like your style a little bit. So yeah, and you can rate it from 1 to 10 and see. Let's see how it goes. My voice is not
Yeah, I
good
was
to
gonna say
begin.
you're giving yourself a hard task when your throat's knackered, medically ruined throat, but you're going for it anyway.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a go.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce today's guest at the LionCast episode 7, globally recognized as the most successful British arm wrestler of all time. He is a multiple BAF, EAF, and the WAF champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the most recognized voice in all of arm wrestling, Neil Supernatural
Oh. Hey,
Lincoln.
check you out.
Yeah.
Thank
Here
you
we
very
go. It
much,
was good. It
Alex.
was good.
Thank you,
What do you
brother.
say?
It's my honor and a pleasure to be here also.
Thank you very much.
Really
Thank you very
looking
much.
forward to this.
Uh, I have so many stuff I wanted to talk with you, but this would be too long. And yeah, a couple of things I want to touch on is the stuff we talked about in Istanbul, the stories you told us, and yeah, the advices you give us for like starts and everything, and we really
Yeah,
implemented a lot of stuff in our game. You told us,
cool.
and yeah,
Has it been working? Been working for you?
working very good. So since
Good
we
stuff.
saw you last time, we opened a club here. We started this podcast series and YouTube series and going really good.
Tremendous, man.
Yeah, we also have to work. Everybody works. We are prepping for competitions. We had the Serbian nationals also, but we will talk a little bit about it later on.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to start this by asking you, yeah, we know maybe the most important thing, also like you said, and Engin also has the same opinion as you, is the stuff that happens before they go.
Yes.
The setup. And yeah, like you said, the speed. You love the speed game, the surprise game, like you said, to fake it one way, go another way, and yeah, like you told us,
for me, it's been an
the
evolution,
famous
mate. Really.
Conor McGregor quote: "Precision beats power, and timing beats speed." So
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you tell us? Tell us more.
So
more about
that quote was made famous more recently by Conor McGregor, but it's an old boxing comment. It's been in around boxing and probably combat sports, really. So when I was a child, I sort of came across that same quote when training for boxing. My whole family were involved with boxing, so my sort of came from that sort of boxing mentality, sort of washed over me, and that was always deeply ingrained. On a lot of the things, not just the sort of technical side of arm wrestling, a lot of the things that have crossed paths within my sort of arm wrestling career have come from that background. And there's a lot of overlap there, and that's just one of them. But for me, it was very much an evolution from a technical perspective. It was very much an evolution around, I say evolution, maybe realization is a better word, or a little bit of both. I realized early on that I was not physically gifted from a leverage perspective. So for a guy, I'm 6'1". So I'm not particularly tall, not a particularly big guy. In all the fundamental aspects of arm wrestling, I wouldn't say I'm genetically gifted from the leverage standpoint. So I haven't got a particularly long forearm, particularly big hand, in fact, pretty small hand. A lot of things that would be really beneficial and have been widely perceived as beneficial, I don't have them. So I had to try to find ways to make what I did have more effective. And after sort of trial and error, I started to incorporate a lot of unexpected movement into what I was doing. And through trial and error, I started to realize that could be refined. It could be evolved. You could start to utilize it in very, very different ways to make your style much more effective, to allow you to get to your position of strength while simultaneously taking your opponent outside of theirs. And a lot of arm wrestling, particularly Western arm wrestling, so US style, is very much what I would call anchored style. So it's around loading, it's around pressurized starts. More of the Eastern European style is not so much loading, particularly if you look at a lot of the Kazakhs now. You look at someone like Talgat, that's not what you're going to see. You're seeing venom off the start. You're seeing the striking snake. You're seeing the speed, the explosivity. Now, if you can combine those two things, so in other words, a small range of explosivity to then find an anchor, that can be extremely effective. So not necessarily going for a flash pin finish, but going to a position where you're moving very, very quick in a very unexpected, unorthodox direction to gain a position where you can then set up a stronghold. That can be very, very effective. And that was the foundation, a lot of the stuff that I started to do. So I tried to move very, very quickly over a short period or a short distance within the match from the start to then take everything away. And often your opponent would actually beat themselves very badly because your natural intuitive reaction, and a good arm wrestler is arm wrestling intuitively. You know that their reaction is intuitive. They react to the position. So when you put them into that position, they would intuitively react and they'd move towards a shape. And as they do that, you counter and you set up a very, very strong position and then gain on it very quickly. So in other words, it's almost like throwing the rear naked choke on the guy very early. So there's no way out. And that is the basis for a very broad spectrum of arm wrestling. And that's where my highlights, my best time in my career was when I was getting closer to really understanding in the mastery of that kind of thing. I called it the dark arts, the assassin. And that was that was where I felt like I was best suited. I was never going to be, because it's supernatural, right? I was never going to be the guy that took the advantages that are there for some people. Never really was about that for me. So I needed to find other ways. So if you're looking, I always said, rather the boxer than the puncher, I was more the boxer. I was never going to be the guy that just went grinding into that deep hook match. I actually started my career as a hooker, started my career in the hook. Some won, some lost. But what you would find is that when you're in deep tournaments, you may beat a guy, but then you go home 2 rounds later because you gassed yourself, everything was torn up. You get to those matches that everybody knows where you're sort of hitting your elastic limit. Once you've gone through that elastic limit a couple of times, it's over. You'll then go home in a couple of rounds. So the guys that I respected the most, the guys that were most impressive to me, were the strategists, the guys that were cerebral, the guys that were, arm wrestling is about here to here.
But we see it more today than
much more.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to evolve more and more, And this is the exciting thing for me about the sport now and the direction that it's going in, Alex, because so many guys are going to come along and they're going to be inventive and they're going to create new ways of doing things. And that evolution, I think, will be unlocked more and more and more. So many fields you see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm shocked every time to learn something different from somebody. And every time I'm like, oh my God, this is mind-blowing, and then you try it and it works and it's great, But
now,
so
guys like you can
information.
bolt so much onto that, Alex. You guys that are just starting out in your career and you're a young guy, you got it all there, and so many more from different countries, and that's what makes this thing exciting. Where we're going to be in 10 years, where's that next field of technique coming?
Yeah,
because elements have been bolted on, elements that I never did. I mean, the King's move, the open top roll style, the King's move, the extreme top roll. I was never really proficient at that. Never did that. It was never something that I sort of built in to what I was doing because of almost its static nature. It was like the Antichrist of what I was doing. But when you look at, you could match the two together, like make some kind of blend of those two, some fusion there. Who knows where the thing's going to go? And I love some of the stuff that we're seeing from the Cossack lads. Fantastic. The Spanish team were really, really proficient at that in the 90s. You had guys over there that were forerunners, really. A lot of that style, Lorenzo Villar was great. Ginito Joaquim, very good arm wrestler. And a lot of the stuff they were doing was very much along those lines. And make no doubt about it, Engin Terzi, very innovative puller. Very smart arm wrestler, much more technical than people realize. Andrew Rhodes, great technical arm wrestler. Some of these guys, not the most gifted genetically. I really don't think that Engin was the most gifted genetically, but worked very well with what he had.
You mentioned the Kazakhs. We wanted to implement like their style of training to our club, to really train together. I love how they really warm up. Everybody warms up together. I also train combat sports, and that's what we did. We had like a big field with grass, and then we done like the warm ups, and then we go inside, and then we did like the when we did wrestling, we did the gymnastics first, and then everybody was doing everything together, and I think this is great. But
definitely,
to have like this style of training, you really have to have the mentality of these athletes. You know, they
Yeah.
grew up like this. When people grew up here, like this guy grew up like this guy grew up like this. I can't now. I'm not their, you know, dad or stuff, or the coach is not their dad to say like, guys, today we're doing drills, you know, and everybody does these drills. No, yeah, you know, it's not gonna happen. So we started like this, then we changed it a little bit, and now is evolving more. You know, we have also new guys that you know, I can call myself now in the club a little bit like um not the beginner class, you know, the medium class, and I can
Yes.
pull with them more, you know, and everybody was like, yeah, Devon can pull for days. Yeah, Devon can pull for days because he pulls with people that are really not so strong like he is. Then that's why he can pull for days, you know. I
And he's
also
quite
can pull.
unique anyway. Devon's a bit of a
He's yeah,
bit of a unique blend himself. You know, he's a freak.
yeah.
I mean,
But
you know the stories of Devon. You know the stuff that he's famous for doing back in the day. I mean, the pull-ups and things like that. Which is, if you look at the anatomy of Devon, that shouldn't work. The guy's got narrow body, long arms, and yet, I mean, push-ups should be terrible for him. And yet he got to a stage where he could do hundreds and hundreds of pull-ups. You know, 1,000 pull-ups. Excuse me, push-ups. Pretty remarkable for a guy to be able to do that many push-ups. You know, if you, or press-ups as we call them in the UK, if you're able to do that many press-ups, a guy who's with that kind of anatomy, pretty unique. You don't see that a great deal. We had a guy, oh, if you look him up on the internet, guys, who's watching the show, if you look up Paddy Doyle, there's a guy called Paddy Doyle, right? And this guy's fascinating character. And he's done press-ups for like 24 hours or more. He's done just non-stop. The same with sit-ups. I mean, everybody knows how punishing sit-ups are. Dude's done like a 24-hour sit-up session. You know, that, I mean, ridiculous stuff. Just an endurance athlete of a very rare breed. And I think there are guys out there. I saw can't remember, he's from maybe in like Slovakia or somewhere like that. There was a guy, old man, like in his 60s. And this dude was unable to generate lactic acid. And his blood, his blood was behaving differently, so he could measure the levels of lactic acid in his blood. And this guy set off. They tested him on TV. I want to say he was on something like he was on a few shows. There was one called Just Amazing in the UK. There's also a show. You ever see that Stan Lee Superhumans? Anybody ever see that? The home where you had like different
I've
freaks
seen
from
it,
all over
but
the
not
world
not
who were
directly this
genetically.
show. We have it also in German, also some similar shows like this. But yeah, I know what I mean.
So this guy was on there, and they had him. He was a swimmer, like he just would swim crazy distance, and he would swim for 6 hours, 8 hours, and they tested his lactic acid levels at the start of the swim and after 6 hours of swimming, and they were no different. And when a normal human just wouldn't, you know, that is not
Yeah.
going to happen. Kind of incredible. These people are out there,
It's
unique
crazy
people.
what people exist, really.
I think it's great. I love freaks. They're amazing. I love a
We
freak.
have one guy. We have one guy. He's I can't say he's a freak because we showed you the picture last time. This
Mhm.
like long arms.
Oh yeah. I
He is a
remember.
freak. He is a freak
Complete
of
one-off.
nature.
Yeah,
Fast,
they're awesome.
explosive, strong, I don't know, endurance, everything,
Mhm.
swimming, I don't know, everything. He's crazy. He is crazy, really. And I think he's a special guy. He went off a little bit with arm wrestling now for the last couple of months because
Mhm.
he worked on a new job. He got the job now, and then now he's coming back. And now we have good
The
training
freak is
partner to
back.
work with. Yeah. Yeah, I don't
There you
think
go.
he will need long to get back. You know, we cut
Mhm.
up a little bit, you know, now, so
Mhm.
maybe we can be a good training for him now. Let's say like this, but
I'm excited to see more freaks come into this game
yeah,
as the sport gets bigger and starts to grow and evolve and get more notoriety, more will come. You know, it's funny. I was on with Engin, Paul, Rowley the other night. We were on the show on the Fix, and Engin came on there and he's reacting to a video that had been done by Real Pins and Giannis, where they were talking about the level of certain athletes back in the day and the level now. And within there, you had those mix of freaks, whether they'd made themselves a little bit of a freak by what they did, or whether they were just a genetic similar human. And the more that you see the sport grow and evolve, and the more that there's monetary appeal and all these things, the more of those are going to come. We got them now. You got guys in the sport now who are genuinely outliers, weirdos.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about guys who've done it via the chemical route, who've taken steroids or performance enhancers. I'm talking about just a weirdo. You know, they're out there. There was a fellow called Ion Oncescu from Romania who was very much one of those guys. RVJ is one of those guys. Devon Larratt, I believe, is one of those guys. 100%. John Brzezinski is one of those guys. There's just, amongst us, there are those freaks, and I can't wait till they start rolling into your club and to, you know, another club in Spain, in Italy, in Norway, where the more of those guys come, the more of those girls come, the better. They find our sport and they throw themselves in. I love it. I
felt like this when we came to Istanbul last time. For me, I really seen all the best sportists in the world: football, tennis, fighters, everything. When we came to Istanbul and saw the arm wrestlers, a guy who is like 130 kilos, but everything upper body. And that mask, or Devon shocked me how wide he is, how big his legs are. His legs are big like my legs, and I train my legs, you know, regularly.
Yeah. So his frame is huge.
Crazy. Dennis. I don't need to say anything about that guy. Levan was the first guy we saw in the lobby when we came. And he was like sitting like this.
Yeah. Top out immediately.
Bro, there's Levan. And he's like sitting like this with Babkin and talking. And the guys were like, we don't want to bother them now. And I was like, why bother them? Just say hello. And I was like, hello, Levan. And he put his hand out like, hello, and puts it like still here. I'm like, what is this? I saw it on the video looking huge, but like Devon said, the hands, Levan's hands feel really soft.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
And then he makes them crazy.
What a match. It's coming, mate.
We were gonna talk about it a little bit later on.
Not too early, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm super excited. What do you think about arm wrestlers peaking later in their age now? I saw a different interesting fact that Devon said, like, we're gonna see even more later athletes will peak, like in their I think he gone too far in the future, like in saying in their 80s, to peak in their 80s, it's too late. I think this is not possible in my mind. You know what I mean?
I don't know whether I agree, you know. I don't know whether I agree. I think that will always be, there'll be probably a similar situation to what you see in fight sports. So I think the bigger men, there will be a propensity towards the bigger men to potentially do that. Think about this. In the lightweight guys, there are fewer. I know there's some, but there are fewer. You've got some outlier. I mean, the only one that's probably you could throw into that mix at the world class would probably be George. And far more when the, you know, Crazy George Zakowicz, when the King's move was less understood and defined. But I feel like the more serious arm wrestling becomes as a sport and the more notoriety the sport gets, I feel like there may be a much greater influx of excellent youngsters coming in. And we'll start to see this evidenced, I believe, in the next 8 to 10 years, where sort of the internet generation are the kids that are coming in. And that's where, without getting ahead of ourselves, that's where I want to see. I would like to see this wave of kids coming through, where they've started arm wrestling at 14, 15, 16 and become technically proficient. And by the time that kid that's taking it very seriously from sort of 15, 16 years old is getting to 25, 27 years old, they're going to be quite a puller. You know, they're going to be pretty bloody sharp. But if you're pulling at that level of intensity and frequency throughout your 20s into your 30s, 40s, and that there's much more of those guys, I wonder whether we will see the same dominant older men. I mean, even now, if you look at it, let's analyze this in focus. You talk about John. John doesn't take the sport anywhere near as seriously now as he did.
Yeah.
You know, and yet he isn't one of those outliers. He's one of those chosen few. Todd Hutchins would be another, is taking the sport very, very seriously. And it's a wonderful thing that you do have the opportunity to take it into those later years, you know. But if you look at Todd came into the sport late.
Mm.
So I think there's kind of like, people say take the piss and they say, oh, I'm in cat years. In arm wrestling years, it's not so much years in age, it's years on the table, how long you've put into the table, how long you've been there. And then you start to ask the question, how long will the appeal of the sport be there for that individual? And how hard will it be to stay at the top if the talent pool becomes far deeper and broader than it ever has been? That's the question that I would like to see answered. Because if you've got a very, very high level that is very deep, it's going to be difficult to beat that sort of 35-year-old guy, 30-year-old guy that's got all the angles ticked, all the boxes are ticked there, very technically proficient, very experienced, and yet have those physical attributes that youth does facilitate, that allows you, you know. Interesting. Only time will tell, Alex.
Very interesting. And I think a lot of it is mental, you know. I think other sports guys, for example, I don't want to say like combat sports because their bodies get broken down, you know, and they can't do it that long. But let's say soccer, okay?
Yep.
I think they look more at soccer later in their careers as a job, you know? And I think that John and Todd Hutchins, for example, don't look at arm wrestling as a job. I think, in my opinion also, and Devon also said this one time, and I want to ask him personally, what would they do if they stop with arm wrestling, you know? This is something they love to do. It's really, when you think about it, something they love to do, and it's something that makes them who they are. You know what I mean? And I don't think they see it as a job. They see it as something enjoyable, you know? And that's why they do it so long, my opinion.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, you hit the nail on the head there, Alex. A lot of it is you're sort of socialized into it to some extent. You know, it's like your whole social circle revolves around that. Your friends, you gravitate towards people who are like-minded, so they're fans of the sport, practitioners of the sport. You know, if all your mates are arm wrestling exponents, they're all guys that pull. If you've training your ass off 2 or 3 nights a week, even if it's only 1 night a week, but you've got a family life and that's your sort of getaway, that's what you do. It's funny, suddenly your whole social circle is arm wrestlers. So many of my friends are strength and combat sport athletes. That's just
all of my friends are.
Yeah, because that's the game I'm in. If I'm either at the fights, or I'm strongman, or I'm arm wrestling, or and everybody that you tend to be around most of the time, that's where they're from. That's those. Yeah. It's where you draw your friends from. It's weird how that works. It's a weird path.
It's crazy. It's great. We kind of got together, me and my group now. I don't want to call them team. A lot of them for me are like family now. And everybody is so different. Yeah. Everybody is so different, Neil. This is crazy. But in the end of the day, when we sit down, we're like all like one person, you know, and we talk about arm wrestling. We not just about arm wrestling, but we have so many things we talk about, and it's like it's unbelievable, really. For me, I can't describe it. It's really a special sport and brings, in my opinion, really just good people. I never met the guy who is like an asshole, you know, and does arm wrestling, and it's getting more and more, you know, people that have no touch with arm wrestling. We're gonna do now in 3 days. I have a baby party. My wife is pregnant. Yeah, and we do like a gender reveal party.
Oh yeah, like a bit. Is that called a baby shower? I might get
look at this deal. two of my guys will know. One will wear a blue t-shirt. One will wear a pink t-shirt. They're gonna arm wrestle and make a show out of it. And who wins? Who wins? It's that, you know, that gender. So
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think it's a great idea. It's very very funny, but it's something that brings us all together. And a lot of people that are coming are nowhere near with arm wrestling. They don't know nothing, but by seeing me do it, and you know, I post everything. A friend of mine like, bro, you post on Instagram just arm wrestling. Make a private Instagram where you post from you and your wife. But this is all I do, you know.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, you could see that with you and the guys when you were in Istanbul. How immersed you are. I mean, you're right in the thick of it, and that's awesome.
And it's like 1.5 years for me, and I think about it the whole day, you know. It's something I want to do full time. I have really never had a passion for a sport like this, because I never could combine like gym and power and everything with some sport. I wanted to play professional basketball. I couldn't combine. Of course I could, but I had to change training up.
And why could you do it?
I could do it, but I was too big for my size. You know, I'm like 190, but I weigh like 100 kilos. For a basketball player, I'm heavy, you know, and I couldn't jump that high.
Is that right? So for the basketball, that's heavy, is it? 100 kilo?
Yeah.
Jesus,
sure.
I thought
we had
they'd
guys
be
that are
massive,
2 meters. Yeah. We had guys that are 2 meters and they're like 90, 92, 93, and they're like flying, you know, they're so fast. I was too slow. And long story short, I hurt my leg, and that's how I stopped. And I was like, what am I gonna do now? And arm wrestling was like a gift from God for me, you know. And
came out of nowhere.
No coming back. I hurt my left elbow like before we came to Istanbul. I don't know if you remember. It's healed up. I don't know how. It's healed up. It's feeling so strong. And I think sometimes, for example, this Mario, he broke his both arms when he was little.
Oh, I remember you telling me. Oh,
he fell down and broke his both arms. Now they're like steel, you know. So
that is terrible. Both arms. Wow.
He was like at a wedding. His mom told us a story. He was like this at a wedding. He couldn't move.
I can't even. Oh man, that would. The embarrassment as well. The whole.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man, it was stupid how he done it. That's done it, but yeah. What I have like written stuff down.
No problem, brother.
What I wanted to talk with you about. And the next thing is Michael, a former rival of yours, if I can call him that. I can go back and watch the match with you and Michael on the left arm 100 times. It's super exciting. Super exciting.
That was such a that's I get asked about that match so much, and it's myself and Mike have met a number of times in competition. Mike is a very, very special character. He's a very close friend of mine for many, many years. I mean, he was the signature arm wrestler of the Onward Super Series. I would say that if you were sort of looking at the definitive guys within there, Michael is without question one of those guys. Love the dude. Mike's he doesn't have a backward step in him. You know, when Mike's one of those guys that thrives off confidence. And if his confidence is really high, he's such a difficult guy to beat. But he's also the guy that can talk himself out of a match, you know. If he shows up, sometimes he's not there. His head is not there. But if his head's in it, if he smells blood in the water, Michael Todd takes some beating.
You can see it in his face.
Yes. Yeah. He's we have a saying, heart on his sleeve, you know. And Michael Todd epitomizes that. There's no poker face. He's very much 100% all gears forward commitment, you know. And that day on Sambala Beach, I was actually lighter than Mike that day. He was like 105. I was weighing about 93, 94, somewhere around there. And Mike was light for Mike. I think it was like 105, 110, somewhere around there, but good condition. Mike was in good shape. Mike and myself were in a battleground. So myself and Mike I actually pulled twice before that. I pulled Ryan Clark of the USA. He was the US national champion, 90 kilo guy. Great guy, Ryan. Pitbull porn star. He's a great dude. I pulled Ryan first. I won that match 6-0 or 5-1. Michael pulled Martin Vodak. Michael also pretty comfortable. Got his spots and put on a little bit of a show. I then pulled a guy called Nino Salvatore, who was the Spanish national champion. And then I pulled again with Mike in the final of the battleground. I felt great after Ryan, so I was pretty good. I played a little bit with Nino, had some fun with the crowd over there, let him jump on me a little bit. And then myself and Mike went in the final. And yeah, I was feeling really, really good. I was doing well. I felt very, very good. And then in the later rounds, Mike's got some really sticky spots. But in the later rounds, Mike smashed me on one penny, and I was at the time, I felt like it was, number one, a little early, and also I felt like he had his shoulder really far forward, but it is what it is, he got away with one, I feel. And then the next round, I wanted to sort of level the score, and I bumped Mike with the palm, then jumped back a little and drove very hard to the side. I sort of jumped onto his fingers, caught sort of just where his knuckle line was, and then really hammered sideways hard. And as I did that, Mike was half committing to his shoulder. He was caught halfway in, half out. And I could feel, the only thing I could say is it felt like somebody running a stick down a fence. It sort of went, there was like a in his elbow. And I thought, oh, shit. And at the time, I was really amped up. I was like, bang, hit, and I blew up and spun away. And then as I sort of got to the back of the stage, like, and Mike was down. Yeah. It's not actually in the film. Mike was down on the corner of the stage, and he was sweating heavily and holding his arm. And I thought, shit, that's hurt him. And so I went over. I'm like, "You all right?" Yeah, Michael's typical Michael. He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's just do it." So we get up there, and we go to grip, and I can feel his arms knackered. It's moving. I'm like, his arm's screwed. Something wrong with his arm. I actually said to him, "You're all right, mate?" He's like, "We're gonna do it or what?" Like, he's like, and I'm like, "Mate, your fucking arm ain't good." We went to grip again, and his bloody arm moved like half an inch. And I'm like, "No joke, we can just leave it, Mike, because your arm's damaged there. There's something wrong with your arm." And Mike's like, "No, I'm good. I'm fine." And I said to the referee, Richard Poole, I'm like, "His arm is not fine, Richard." I don't know. I didn't, I was genuinely worried. Thought his arm's going to break or something. So I came up with this mindset that I wouldn't hammer sideways again. I'd just go back, just go real back, as hard as I could back. And then I was going to just finish him. I'm going to go straight back and finish him. Mike had not read that script. So I went back as hard as I could. You can't let Mike get a spot like that, Mike gets dug in with his shoulder. He was off the injury then, and he was just onto his shoulder. Was just relentless, utterly relentless. I went to win the match at one point. I went back, and I was pronating hard. I sort of went to drive, and I turned my toe. I sort of spin off my toe and kick. And as I did it, there was sand on the board. I'm sure you'll see this. If you watch the film, you'll see. And as I spun on my toe, I kicked, and my toe washed out. My foot went, and I just totally lost my footing. And it's a split second thing, but all my power came out of the movement. I regathered, and I put my foot onto the center of the bar. It was a Mazarenko table. I put my foot onto the center of the bar and tried to kick further backwards. I couldn't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. I was at the back of the power with my elbow, so I had nowhere to go. I thought, if you just be okay. I'll just hang here for a minute and he'll tire because his arm's knackered. Nah, Michael does not. He's relentless. He just stayed on me, driving. Brack started to burn. What can I say? I couldn't hold him up. That was the end of that. So we ended up tying 3-3. I was kind of angry with myself because I thought I should have just gone for him as hard as I possibly could.
But
But on
his
the
health
other
was more
hand, I'm
important.
not, I look, the right result on the right day. And he retained the title. He deserved to, because he arm wrestled harder than I did that day. And good on the man. And then I said to him, "Oh, you need to go get your arm checked out." And he went home, got it checked out. He thought he was fine. True story. Couple of months later, he comes back. Okay, so we go to the Triple XL in London, and he's pulling against Wagner, Bortolato, and the night before, Michael said to me on camera, he said, "Well, tomorrow this is what's going to happen." He said, "I'm going to jump into this guy's hook. I'm going to dive on him with the shoulder, meet him bone to bone." And he said, "And one or two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to pin this dude and take his spirit, or my arm's going to break. I don't know which one that is, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow." And that is exactly what he did. He did exactly that in round one. Dove in super tight, super close. Wagner did the same. Michael did not back off. He said he wouldn't, and he didn't. Bang. There goes his arm, you know. He'll do what he says he's going to do. I'll tell you that. He will do what he says he's going to do.
Wagner, another tough guy himself.
Lovely dude. So entertaining, you know.
The mat match was like, I thought he's going to break his arm.
I think he nearly did.
It was
I
like
think, yeah. I think,
everything. I was like,
you know, the one that
hell
worried me
happened there?
more was Tobias.
Yeah.
That was not happy for Wagner in that. I thought Wagner's arm may be badly damaged. Tobias Sprong looked horrible guy to arm wrestle that day, and stylistically very difficult for Wagner. You know, very difficult. Good kid. He's coming up. He's on the rise. Big match coming up with him. Him and Camille. Wow.
Great match.
Yes, without a doubt.
Camille, right arm also, but left arm looks crazy.
He's very strong left-handed.
Ability to the down pressure also and everything, and the
Yeah.
internal rotation, everything is like perfect and super strong.
Very strong. Good match coming up. Real day of reckoning for those guys, you know. So many of those coming in East versus West, mate.
No, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable what card Engen is like. This is unbelievable.
Mega.
Guys want to arm wrestle. Guys want to arm wrestle, and there are so
Mate,
many good matches to make.
Every time there's a card comes out and you think to yourself, you know, this is probably the definitive one, isn't it? Where do you how do you top this?
Yeah.
How do you because in terms of the sort of arm wrestling public, this has got to be the match that more people wanted to see than any other, you know? Nevertheless, the more that people familiarize themselves with the guys, the more that they get to know the characters, that they get to know these people, the more they're going to want to see them arm wrestle, you know?
Yeah.
And I hope that continues. I hope that people, the general viewing public, get to see the guys and pick a few that resonate with them, that they identify with, and they get on the bandwagon, whoever that is. Maybe it's Mindaugas Terasaitis, who knows, you know? But
I think there's no going back for arm wrestling no more.
It's coming, mate. It's starting to, yes, it's starting to build. How long it'll continue, we do not know. But yeah, at the moment, I think it's on the rise. It really is.
And it's just the 12th event.
Yes.
UFC is like 300 now. UFC 300 this weekend.
Isn't it funny? I'll tell you something. Geneva, 1992. I was a puppy, just a kid. And I was out there with Team Great Britain, wasn't even an official representative of Team Great Britain at that time. The Unit 4 gym and the guys from there were, and I asked to get right at the end of the conference. They have like an international nations conference. All the heads of the nations are there, and I asked to do a talk. You know, just do a presentation. And the presentation was about the format of arm wrestling being wrong. Main draw arm wrestling. I said it. You know, it's not good. It's not targeted around the furtherment of the sport, because at that time you'd go out there and you were assigned a number and your country. So they would just say, you know, number 2488, England to the table. Not even your name. Not even your name. You know, I medaled in this makes me feel old. So Virginia Beach, USA, 1996. Okay. So I finished second that day in the men's 80 kilo class. And I'm super proud. I missed out on the medals the year before. And in 94 in Sweden at Eskilstuna, I missed out. I was one place away from the podium there. I was fourth place. And I felt like I could have done better that day. I felt like I definitely could have finished top two, but I didn't. And I finished fourth. And I was devastated. In 96, I went there. I was very strong. And I was beating really good guys early. I was beating guys like Fritz Corey, Greg Bednards, Pascal Girard. Beat Georgi Dzeranov that day. Beat a lot of good lads. They're like 80 kilo class. And I end up second place. I'm beaten by Zolev, Kazbek Zolev beat me in the final. And I'm so proud. And I'm looking forward to getting on the podium. And when I get up there, they announce they don't even announce your name. They don't even announce your name. They just say a number and in England. And I'm like, what the? You know, crazy. 1996, this is, right? And years before, and 92 in Geneva, I'd done this presentation. I remember that's how pissed off I was. I was on the podium in Virginia Beach, and I'm getting my medal, and inside my head, I'm shaking my head. I'm thinking, God, this sucks. This sucks that they don't even say the name of the athlete that's won. It sucks, you know. We're not. How can anybody be proud to? Oh yeah, that was me. They don't even put your name. You're on the podium. You know. I thought that was poor.
Yeah.
Here we are. I got laughed at in Geneva. People said, "Oh, you come from combat sport. You don't know what you're talking about. You've only been in this sport 5 or 6 years. You don't really understand it. And you're too young and you ain't got the experience and super match. What are you talking about? One-on-one. That's not what we do with it, you know." Here we are.
Evolving. Neil, besides everything you've done for the sport, like competition-wise, I think every event that has you, it's special in its own way with your voice and your introduction and your commentary. And it's really, in my opinion, I had like a couple of favorites. Like I love introductions, you know. I was in love when I was little. I watched WWE. WWE had this one guy. He also announced the WAL. I don't know his name. He was great by announcing. Then Bruce Buffer. I love Bruce Buffer also. But your voice and how you say it, it's so special.
Thank you.
It brings people up, and the energy and everything. It's completely crazy.
Cheers, Alex. Try my best, brother.
I have something to ask you if you would do that. Yeah, I mean, it's a big match. I don't want to make it nothing, but I love how you say for some men there are no limits. And
yeah,
this is so special.
Yeah,
for me, unbelievable.
When I gave Devon the title No Limits, was a lot of people said at the time, why have you called him No Limits? Because when he came over at the Trafford Centre, and it was perfect. We'd been speaking, and I found out a lot about Dev. We became very good friends, and I always think a nickname has to be something that is about the individual. It's like you don't, some guys will say, oh, I just want to be called something that's like manly or tough or hard. I want to be called Rock, Nails, or some silly shit, which is great, but there's no meaning.
Yeah.
With Devon, the reason that No Limits was the name and why I called him No Limits was for so many reasons. He is No Limits personified. If you look at the guy, First of all, Archimedes' law. So Archimedes' law, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum strong enough, I will move the world. If you look at Devon Larratt, he's an unusual blend. Very long lever, but the fulcrum is strong enough. And he can go anywhere. And he's moving the world. And on the 20th of April, he might move it further than he's ever moved it before. We're going to find out. But everything about the guy, the press-ups I was talking about earlier, who does 1,000 press-ups? A 6'6" special forces soldier from the frozen north of Canada that happens to be maybe the best arm wrestler in the world. And certainly, I know at times in that man's career, he is without question been the very best arm wrestler in the world. That is for sure. I spent a night watching that man in a hotel in a place called Thurrock. We'd done the Armwars Deep Water event at the lakeside. And that young man that night was something very, very, very special. Let me tell you now. 2008, that dude was a bad mother fluffer. I don't know where. I mean, everybody says, you know, and Devon himself will say, this is the best of me right now. But I've asked Devon when he's on his own. I've said, look, well, you know, what do you think? You think you'd cut through the guy in 2000? You think you'd cut through yourself that night? And he says, I don't know. There's something to be said about original parts. And there is. And the other thing was that then he was a different arm wrestler. You know, he just did the video, not the same guy. But that works both ways. He was never the same guy after the injury he suffered that scrapped him and made it so he did need the surgeries. But that night, he was like a perfect, polished diamond. He was ridiculous. All original parts, no injuries. Gang of confidence. Mother was more full of himself than a Russian doll. He was ridiculous. And he just scythed through every single person you put in front of him with ease. And I would love to be able to see that guy face him now. I'd love to be able to see that guy face Levan Saginashvili. I would love to see that. And why is because the nonchalance, the ease with which he beat everybody was ridiculous. John Brasink felt it. Richard Lupkas felt it. That version of him before the injuries. Wow. It was something unique, something special. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? We talked about it one night before the Dennis match.
Mm-hmm.
And the community was like, of course, 50-50. People were talking about like, yeah, we never know. We also didn't knew what's gonna happen. Nobody knew, but
you never do you? But one thing I'll say is the last two outings of Dev, Hermes and Dennis, went exactly as expected. Exactly as expected. If you look back at the fixtures and the predictions preemptively that I said of how I thought those matches would go, they went exactly. And I'm very interested to see whether this match works out as I see it in my mind. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. When they first pulled in Dubai, it didn't. I didn't see the injury. I didn't see that. That's not what I saw. But it was starting to take the shape that I thought it could. And that's why I don't believe that the match ever happened. So I'm very intrigued to see whether it happens how I see it in my mind or whether it's a different path. Because it's going to, I mean, we ain't long to wait and we find out.
Neil, you believe that some things happen for a reason?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I think we are seeing it live happening.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that happens. The loss. I made like a short documentary film and you can see him losing, coming back, losing to Gennady, starting to train inside, Paul Moore, getting well-rounded, getting his, like, with stem cells and everything, rebuilding himself. And like having to pull Gennady. Gennady
Mhm.
injures himself. Levan injures him. This is stuff that should not happen that way. You know what I mean? And everything happens like this. And now the finals come, and I think in my mind, I would love, I'm nobody to like be now. I can't say I really would love to see him win because he grinded through it. He really, and age and everything and a lot of different stuff, but this is a perfect film scenario how everything happened. And now the finals are there. And if he wins, it's like Engin said, if there was no John Brzezinski, he would probably be the greatest of all time. And I think if he wins with Levan, it's mind blowing what he did in his whole career. But this will be like the nothing higher than this. It's
I think
crazy.
I think for me, mate, the thing is for me, I kind of feel like the win is less important than the outcome. The win probably is less important than the definition, than the understanding of what will be and what would have been. Oh, maybe that's not fair. Not what would have been, but what will be. I think I feel like Dev's the kind of guy that would walk away from the table acceptant
Yeah, for sure.
of any result if it was in fact a definitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he was in there and he wins, wow. But I feel like also if he lost and had given everything, there was no more. I feel like that's good enough also
For sure.
for him. I really do. I think the last time, because there wasn't that definitive outcome, there were so many questions left. And I think that whenever I've said that before, people probably feel like I'm just talking about for Devon. And I'm really not. I think for both people, there's a lot of people who'll talk about Levan's. He's so strong, he's so big, he's so powerful, and all of those things are so true. But can he deal with the adversity? Can he reset himself? Can he change? Can he arm wrestle? Because he's a lot better arm wrestle than people think. He thinks a lot more about arm wrestling than people think. And Devon also. Devon's very cerebral. He's taking the sport further. He's trying to innovate. There are no limits, right? You know, he's doing all those things, and there really are not. And I want to see a definitive. I want to see the outcome. I want to see the match. Whoever wins, I want to see these guys go in there, give everything they've got, everything in their box of tools, everything in their arsenal. And then the man who wins that night is the deserving winner. And I think we can't, as a sport, ask for any more than that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm biased as hell. Devon's one of my close friends. He's very closest personal friends. I really like Levan. Levan's a great dude. I don't know Levan as well as I know Devon.
Yeah.
For me, if Devon got hammered 6-0 by Levan Saginashvili, honestly, mate, I couldn't give a shit. I love the dude. He's my friend. I'm so proud of him. He's a magnificent arm wrestler. And he's been a light in the sport. He's pushed the sport further than so many before, and maybe so many after. But he's been a torchbearer. And I think he's a brilliant puller and a very unique man. And so for me, the result on the 20th of April doesn't define Devon Larratt at all.
Yeah, for sure.
He goes into the match, he's my friend, and he'll come out of the match my friend. And it won't detract from him one bit. In my eyes, I'm sure that's not the sentiment that a lot of people have, but it's certainly mine. And if he can win, That's wonderful. If it's great because it delivers maybe the icing on the cake. I think he goes into this as a legacy match. I think he wants this more than ever. And he's a very, very focused individual. And I think in some respects, when he faces someone like Levan Saginashvili, he's arm wrestling in a mirror. You know, I think the guy looking back at him is also on a different path, very different path, but the same path. You know what I mean? So that's going to be it's going to be fascinating. But my biggest wish is that this thing is definitive, that we come out of this and we know, everybody knows, and the journey to get here, not this last 5 months, 6 months, all the stuff that has gone on, the ebb, the flow, the development of an event around this type of character, around these type of matches that we've seen, like what we've done with Arm Wars for many years, and the sort of the fact that we were a little bit of a torchbearer in that respect. It's been a wonderful story, and I feel like it's just beginning, really. Really, I feel like it's just beginning, and I'm fascinated to see where it goes, and hopefully, I'm still around to see that for a few years at least. Who knows? Who knows? April 20th is not far away. Big match.
I think every sport has like their own gold era, and I think this is the gold era of arm wrestling. Like this,
pretty good one.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good one. There's been sort of a few in the time I've been in the sports, coming up 40 years now, and yeah, it's interesting. There's been a few mega times where you think, wow, this is really going somewhere. But I do feel like maybe I'm a little over romantic about it, but I do feel like it's different this time. I feel like there is a different set of criteria at play, and the diversity within the sport is more than it has been. And the governance of the sport is more flexible than it's been. And in my opinion, all of these are good things. I think that the competition that breeds is a good thing. And I think there's now platforms for opportunities for more arm wrestlers to be seen than there has before. And I love that. I love that there's more guys coming into this thing ever. I mean, my sort of life's ambition in that respect was that the day they throw dirt on me, I'd like to. Arm wrestling is a recognized thing, you know. That'd be cool as balls, wouldn't it? If during your journey, if during your life, the sport that you love and that you've dedicated your life to really became recognized within that period, that would be something special.
Yeah.
That's aspirational. For me, it is. And who knows, it may work, it may not. We're a long way to go yet. We're certainly not an established sport or a big sport on the grand scheme of things, but we definitely seem to be on a really positive trajectory. And I think there are things coming off this, which, as you say, could be elevated a little more. I mean, the film around Devon, the fact that Devon is a character that does resonate with and appeal to a lot of people. Probably the on-screen persona is very different to the man, to some extent, to the guy I know. He's a very complex individual. Yeah, who knows? But maybe the stars will align for Dev. Maybe they will for Levan. Both of them are on very similar paths in very different ways. There's a couple of real fascinating thoughts, isn't there? What's next for both men? I mean, if the 21st comes and Levan has won, what then?
Yeah.
If the 21st comes and Devon has won, I mean, party jumps off the page and it's rubber match, isn't it? You know, people think to yourself, well, you got to go again because Levan won one and Devon won one. Surely, 6 months away, 9 months away from a rubber match. I mean, what would you like to see that?
it depends how the match goes.
Would you want that to be the next match? So, for example, if Devon won,
If
would
Devon
you?
wins and Devon wins like he says he's gonna win, I would love to see Levan pull one match to
One
gain
more
his
and
confidence.
then
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you because
If it's a
from a
close match, if
okay,
it's a close match and
and you're
Devon
meaning
wins,
because of the confidence thing,
yeah.
because okay,
I think Neil, I really think
okay,
that he is not at 100%, and not just me. Everybody knows that, and I think that he shouldn't take this match so early. He should maybe do one match and then do this match, or like I don't know. That's my opinion. I think he's not
it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's
100%.
like it's a bit of it's a rabbit hole, that one, isn't it? Because you can say, if you were on the Devon side of the camp, you can say, oh well, dude hasn't been 100% since 2008.
Yeah,
Because when you're on the inside track and you know how Devon was, and you know the injuries, and you know how they were sustained, and the longevity of those things, and how they may or may not have affected him, it's kind of fascinating. How many combat sport athletes, strength sport athletes, are ever at 100%? I mean, we see in I commentate the Giants Live arena shows, and the best strongman in the world, the strongest men in the world are there. And you'll see that guy that he's on the rise and he's just winning everything and he looks so dominant, he looks incredible. And then suddenly, snakes and ladders,
yeah,
from out of nowhere, there's an injury. And it can change so many things.
yeah,
It can change the whole dynamic of that person. And I don't mean just physically. It can affect their head.
for sure.
It can mess with. Suddenly, you go from that guy where you think to yourself, I'm I'm invincible. I can do it all. I'm the guy. I'm the next big thing. And then all of a sudden, wow, maybe I'm not. Maybe I can be injured. Maybe I can be hurt. Maybe these things, and you start to doubt yourself. And that little depletion of confidence, that little degradation of confidence, can be the difference between the guy you were. And I kind of feel like one thing that Devon is projecting right now, certainly outwardly, is that he is ready, that he is in the best place that he can be to take on the biggest challenge that he has for a second time.
Neil, you're like deep thought guy, and I think when injuries happened, there are two type of people. One is like, I don't give a shit, I'm too tough, nothing's gonna happen when I heal up.
Mhm.
And then there's people who really think about that, and
Yeah.
who are who realize what happened. I tore my pec, like not the whole pec, but I tore for sure something. I feel it
Yep.
also now when I flex, and I had a hard time for 1 year to
Yeah.
really do something.
Was that bench
And
pressing or something else?
I tore it. Me and my wife were hiking, and I
Okay.
slipped. I don't know if you can see it. I have a big scar here,
Yes, I
like
can.
this, yeah. And I slide it down. It's actually this back, not this. And I slide it down, and I felt something pop, but I didn't
Hmm.
think nothing was wrong. And then I gone to the training, and I did pec deck machine.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, when I was like, what's happening here? What is this? And I feel when I flex it, like a
Hmm.
hole here by where it attached to the shoulder bone, and I had a hard time to go through the injury mentally.
Yes.
And a grandfather of mine, very interesting guy, he is helping people to go through hard times in their lives,
Hmm.
like talking with them or talking with them
Like a
personally.
professional psychologist.
Yes, my friend.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
He is like, okay, I met him by accident. Me and my wife were like, I just came to Austria. We were like making our flat, and we bought a couch from a guy.
Hmm.
And in this neighborhood, I see my grandfather, and I didn't see him for a long time. He was like, "Hey, Alexa," he's a big guy, like 195, like huge man. And he's like, hey, you and your wife come over to me and I want to talk with you. And we sit down and I talk with him. And I don't know why I said this. And he was like, just relax. We're going to take it out of your head now. And he was like, think, man, I swear to God, this is so crazy. He's like, think about the injury, how it happened. And imagine that you take all those thoughts and put it in a black ball and you hold the ball in your hand. Now think about something, it was much longer, you know. Now think about something positive, what makes you happy, and throw the ball away. And you see the ball going and going and going and going and disappearing in the sky. Neil, I never had problems. I feel that something is still wrong there, you know, physically, but I never had the mental block to train anymore. Never. And I think this is very interesting. Is Levan really sure or too tough and don't think about it?
I don't
or
know.
Not?
And also, I think the more public you become, the more
people talk about your injury.
And it's unavoidable. You know, so you're the guy that was in Extraction. You're the guy that I've seen on YouTube. You're this guy that's seen as this invincible, indomitable guy. But really, you're just a man. I mean, if you meet Levan, what a great dude. I mean, he's like a very, very nice, super humble, really approachable, warm, endearing guy. You know? And he will have his own. Yeah. I mean, you can see the warmth coming off the guy.
You can see it.
You can see it. And it's very real. He's a lovely dude, genuinely lovely dude.
Yes.
And he will have his own doubts, frailties, all those things that every single one of us has. And so the more public he becomes, the more you can be fueled by the pride and the necessity that your persona demands. You know, you got to walk into the flames, maybe when you're not 100%, and we don't know.
Man, big weights on his shoulders.
Like. Yeah, it's a huge, you know, and the weight of the nation of Georgia. I mean, such a proud tradition of arm wrestling from Georgia. Guys who've come out of that camp, you know, Vep Kiasam Karadze, you know, you've got Irakli Gurkiani, all the, and the guys that have come out of that camp year after year have been so friggin' powerful, so dominant for so many years. So many great champions, Vakhtang Shavakadze, all those guys, you know, and you look at him and he's the one. He's the champion of the champions.
Yeah.
How bad was that wrist? And the dude he's facing has the strongest pronation I've ever seen. He's a natural giant. He's got great levers. He's got endurance for days. He'll talk to you, get in your head, piss you off, keep you awake at night. All those things that are going to be chipping away. But it's how much Levan's chipping away at himself that is the most important. And there's a lot of stuff that people don't necessarily factor into the equation. And those are the things that will tip the scales one way or the other come April 20th. Those are the things.
So much, so big stakes. Just a short. I read the comments the whole time. Reno is jumped in. Reno asks,
"What a baller that kid is! Love him. He is mega. I love that kid. That is a bad dude.
Bad dude.
Oh bad dude. God.
He says he is recovering from some injuries. So let's see what he says. What injuries bother you, Reno? What's up from the Bacho match or what's? But we saw him like holding his elbow a little bit, but because that was a tough match.
What a display from that lad. What a display from that lad. And you know, Bacho's a weapon, and he got some spots. And I love that Reno just rolled with it and just showed that versatility, believed in himself, committed. He's such a good arm wrestler. I mean, how good does he get? You know what I mean? God, he's only a baby.
And he's
He's gonna get fucking
unbelievably smart. So smart. So
really good.
smart.
Really good, isn't he? He's got
Smart
it
deep
all. He's
shots
got it
also.
all.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it's all there. Reno's a beast, mate.
Reno is a beast. Um, One thing that Devon said, I'm gonna come back to this.
Hmm.
It's like he said, Levan is training with all these champions,
Yes.
all these legends. And I don't want to batch on like Ottawa high hookers, but they're like no world champions there,
Mhm.
you know. But what he said got in my mind, and I was like, that's why me and my team also progress so much. It's the energy you
Yeah.
have in the club.
Hmm.
Super important.
Yeah.
Super important. The positive energy, and you know, when you meet with the guys and everybody
Hmm.
is happy and everybody is talking and everybody is interested to evolve, and yeah, this is good, this is not good. Watch your elbow, there is some
Hmm.
angles, some stuff. It's so great, and I believe this is super important in a team, not
Yeah, and I
just
think
like going and like
we talked about it at the beginning, mate. You said you've got such passion for it and you're immersed within the sport. Devon's like you. He's immersed within, I mean, his sons, his
great.
daughter, his lady used to pull, doesn't now because she's too busy being a mum and doing everything else that she's got to do. But
Yeah.
the whole family, they all pull. The whole network of that family, their very fiber is ingrained, woven within the tapestry of this sport. And that counts, that matters. That thought process, that complete immersion in the game
Mm.
makes you hard to beat. You want to do something, you want to be really good at something, people have ever committed more. Extremely committed individual.
The family, you also talked about the family, they're so special, everybody is so special, but
Mm-hmm.
the most special thing from all is like everything they put out publicly and everything, but you see how close they are. I also talked
Oh
with
yeah.
Auden. I had Auden here on, and I told him it's really special what you guys have, like keeping it together and everything is so close. And he says like everything we do together. We go to
Yeah.
like we play ball together, we play cards together, we arm wrestle together, we watch movies together,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I think this is so important in a family. And I
And
think not
Orden's
just
another one that he's exciting prospect, really exciting prospect. Uh, with Orden, it's going to be putting those layers on, you know, because
Auden.
you can see the talent level in some of the
Yeah,
youngsters.
for
I mean,
sure.
Reno, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, Reno
Good
is
Lord.
next level. He said it was a combination of Bacha and national championship
Hmm.
and Ivan match. So that's how the injury happened, and he says he has to take a break and look it very close because it's
Sure.
serious injury. So
I'm really sorry
wish
to hear
you
that.
wish you well, Reno,
Yeah,
and
genuinely
hope you're
sorry to
gonna
hear
be
that, Reno.
back fast. Stem cells.
Yeah,
Stem
slippery
cells.
slope, mate.
We saw Auden pull with the Whisper. I expected the match to go that way.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we saw him after pulling with Christo. We saw him after pull with Reno.
Hmm.
Reno, I can compare him with Reno, but I can compare him with Christo because Christo had a match with a guy that was in our club, a Greek guy,
Yeah.
Petros Peridis, super
Hmm.
strong guy, Greek national champion, 85 kilo, and we pulled with him, and he's like much stronger than we are,
Hmm.
but Dennis, our guy, could trouble him a little bit, you know,
Yep.
and in some angles. And I thought like, if where is Auden now, you know? And he's coming also to Istanbul, and I'm super excited if he is on to do a practice pull with him and to see where he is, because I think for sure his hand is his strongest part for
Hmm.
sure, and I want to see where he is. I'm super excited to see where he is on both arms, but on the right more. and super eager to see the match with James English also. Super good test for him. Press guy.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because James is a strong guy, but I don't know whether he will have anywhere near the technical range to deal with Oren. If Oren's uh, in the ascendancy that I believe he'll be in. I mean, you speak with Devon, and Dev says that Oren is training like a savage. He's going after it hard. And the funny thing is, when guys at that age go after it, the gains you can make are really significant when you're at that age. So who knows? But I see Oren as a favorite in that match. I think for me, I expect Oren to make the running. I think he's getting smarter and smarter and more confident, and he's not lacking confidence to start with. And I
And
think that
he's
in
fast.
itself is a weapon. Oh yeah, he's explosive. Yeah,
He's
he's got a great deal of options, and as he starts to evolve and starts to get better, yeah, who knows how good he'll get? Maybe 5 years time, he's right there with the Renos, with the the upper tier of arm wrestlers. We will see.
Interesting things. You think it's smart for him to bulk up so much because he's getting very heavy, very heavy.
Yeah, actually, no, I don't. I think it's let it evolve naturally. Just be where you are. I think at this point, I wouldn't be focused on weight at all, if I'm honest. And I think
He's
he's
eating
been
so
born in the
much.
perfect age and era for weight not to really matter. I mean, it's kind of like weight does matter. It is important. Size does matter, but not necessarily for someone like Oren, because people are going to be engaged in the match rather than the weight,
Yeah.
rather than the sort of pageantry of the match, the formality of the match. I think people are going to be tuning into Oren matches because they want to see him pull. And if he can just feed himself into the sport in a nice, steady, controlled manner, in interesting, engaging matches, stepping himself on a little bit and testing different areas, that's the route I'd like to see him go. Not too much focused on a specific weight or any specific criteria. I don't think it matters.
I understand him a little bit because I was super skinny myself in like 17, 18. And then I started bulking up and training really in the gym. And I bulked up from 18 to 21. I bulked up 32 kilos. Really
Holy shit.
a lot. But that was quality. I ate I was on a diet, but I was eating like praise to my mom. Mom was cooking everything and prepping everything. I was like laser focused, eating like portions, I weighed everything. I was
Super
like,
focused. Yeah.
yeah, super focused. Now it's completely different. Now I got some excess fat, but I was super focused and I
Yeah.
gained quality weight. I think he also said he's not just getting quality weight. And I think I understand him because I was always the small guy. I was like the skinny guy, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to be the skinny guy. I'm for sure this is not the main goal, but this is somewhere in his head that he doesn't want to be the skinny guy. But I don't think he has to go over 100 kilos now
No,
so fast.
I think he should just forget weight, be where he's at, be where he's comfortable, and just at the moment focus on getting stronger, staying healthy, not getting injured.
Yeah.
And his arm wrestling, just pushing his arm wrestling on, evolving that, becoming more and more well-rounded, and just let his career develop based on that. Really, don't worry about weight.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all those things. Not so much. It's not
And I
a
think he's
factor.
looking huge. I don't know when you saw him last time,
Yeah,
but
I haven't met Oren for a while now. So the last time was it at the Dark Guard when he's first? I think it was a Dark. The
yeah,
last time that I was with him was at the Dark Guard. So I have no doubt in my mind that he will have got much bigger,
yeah,
much stronger. So yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to watch how his career develops because he's got a lot of people watching, a lot of
yeah,
pressure.
yeah.
But he's a confident lad. He's a great puller. I'm sure he can handle it. Is that always good?
He is in a sport where and is in his like starting professional career
Hmm.
when losing it's not so important. experience and evolving is more
Yeah,
important than thinking, I know
everybody's
I
going to lose in
can't
this
lose,
game.
I don't care, you know.
Nobody doesn't lose, literally nobody.
Yeah.
And there'll be the days when you go out there and you get your ass handed to you. And if you're sort of concerned about losing, you're probably in the wrong game. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't lose. It's going to happen. It's nothing, you know.
Mm, mm,
Particularly when you get into the higher the level, uh,
mm.
yeah, you got to learn to cut that loose. Just don't worry about it. Just next step, next step, next step. You'll get where you're going. As the sport
Um,
evolves and broadens, as I say, it's going to be harder to stay away from that loss. If you're not, if you're not taking the loss, you're probably not looking hard enough. There's always the guy on any given Saturday,
mm.
that'll shock you out of your fucking shoes. That guy's out there some days, you know.
Um, Dennis, our guy, won just the youth man, his last year at youth man and
Hmm.
nationals in Serbia. He looked great. We prepped very good, and he actually won in the finals against the guy he lost last year. And he was like,
Okay, yeah. So
I
he's
wanna
got that
get this win
step.
back." And I'm in touch with the guys from the club from the other guy,
Hmm.
and they were like, no way in hell Dennis is gonna win against him. He was at Europeans last year. He done good at Europeans. He's super strong inside. Dennis has a problem with the hookers and stuff.
Okay.
And we were like, I couldn't go with him. That was crazy. He gone alone with one of our friends, David,
Hmm.
and I was like, I was at work when he pulled, and I have a video. I called them via video call, and I was like, "Let's go, man, let's go. You have him." And he was like, and they slip, and I see the guy's wrist go, and I'm
Hmm.
like, "Bro, you got him!" And I was screaming like at the screen, but it was super loud.
Hmm.
And they start, and the guy wanted to go inside, and Dennis, what you told him, Neil, he got
Healed him home.
back,
Yes.
and his wrist, bang.
Hmm.
Dennis holds him, and I was like, I screamed, nobody hears me, and I was like, hold, hold, hold. And he wanted to go inside, and he felt the pressure. He gone back one more time. The guy was like this, holding very ugly position,
Oh.
and he wanted to go inside one more time, and Dennis just adjusted with the elbow inside, and like, wow, man, it was like, wow, crazy. It was so loud. We
Tremendous.
were so happy and that he won and he came back. Then it was great, and he actually wanted to be here also and
Hmm.
say hello to you. And I don't think he's gonna be at Istanbul, but
Oh, I was just going
uh,
to say, is he going over?
he's not coming over. I'm coming with a new guy from the club. A lot of guys work and stuff in that.
Mhm.
I have new work, but immediately the first day I came, I was like, "These 4 days, I'm gone. I have
Mhm.
to go." So yeah, Dennis says hi
Yeah,
hi to you,
tell
and
him congrats when you see him. Good stuff.
thank you very much, thank you very much. I wanted to touch on a couple of more arm wrestlers. We're like one and
Mhm.
a half hours in. I mean, I have time. I don't know if you have time, but as I said, Michael, how you see Michael go? He's back. He's looking good
It's difficult just for one
mentally.
reason, just because that Mike is coming back off the injury. But if Mike is confident, and I believe he is,
Mm,
he should win. He should win. Frank is great. Frank is a good puller, but Frank is a known entity to Michael. Michael knows, and I'm pretty sure Michael would probably consider himself a favorite. Uh,
mhm,
I don't know. I would see Mike as maybe a 60-40 favorite there or thereabouts, I would
mm,
think.
mm.
Um, I would imagine Mike sees himself as a favorite.
Sure.
I, I don't know whether Frank but would see. I think Frank probably prefers to be the underdog. Probably.
Yeah.
He's always been pretty understated guy. Dangerous, big frame, big hand,
Crazy top
very,
roller.
very,
Very
very
good technique.
proficient top roller, does what he does. But the funny thing is with Mike doesn't need that. He just he doesn't need it. So I got Mike, and I think if Mike is where he has been, I expect him to be a 60-40 favorite, and I expect he should win. His
Mm.
endurance is great. The only question mark in my mind for Mike is the injury. and where his head is at as a result of that
And
injury.
I think
You
this
know,
ketamine treatment's doing good. I see him.
yeah, that sounds like quite a thing.
Yeah.
I can't comment on that because I don't have any experience of it. Yeah, I really don't know. But if Michael's confident, he
Mm,
will be difficult to beat.
mm.
He really will. And I think he kind of
And
wants to prove something again, you know.
yeah,
Doesn't want to be the
he
forgotten man.
he told me like his plan, like a couple of like options he
Hmm.
has for himself in the future. He wants to stay lower. He doesn't want to go to super heavyweights, but
Hmm.
if the stars align,
Yeah.
he maybe go to super heavyweights and wants to pull with Georgie in the super heavyweights. And it brings me to another match, Alex Kurdecha and Georgie.
I love that. I mean, listen, I had that match set up for Arm Wars. Truth be known, that's a match that I was looking for in Arm Wars. Tobias and Camille was another, funnily enough. But listen, it doesn't matter where they happen.
Yes.
That's a great match. I mean, I love that match. It's fascinating. Both guys have lanes. Uh, Alex is an evolving arm wrestler, very much evolving arm wrestler. Got the biggest frame, got all the weapons in the world.
Alex, at the last event, he looked enormous.
Phenomenal. He looked
I don't
phenomenal.
know how he
He looked
looked.
like the dude that showed up at Reality Check. And when when he came to almost Reality Check, god damn, it was big, really big, and good big. Not no excess. The dude was ready, and Georgie is a very difficult guy to overcome. The interesting thing is whether Alex is as comfortable and confident to pull if he doesn't get what he needs in the hand and wrist, because Georgie's great at denying people what they need in the hand and wrist. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where Alex's technical progression is at, and I think we'll probably find out. Great match, love that match. I love both those dudes. They are great guys. I mean, if you popularity contest in arm wrestling, those two are going to be up there
Yeah.
because they are just the nicest guys. Really genuinely gentle giants, and both men very formidable, very formidable. And I see very clear lanes for both guys to win that match. One of the most fascinating matches on the card. And there's so much energy will come from that as well. Both guys are energetic, confident arm wrestlers. Acid G is a big, smiling, deadly top roller, and Alex is so explosive and aggressive at the table. I'll be very surprised if it's not one of the high points of the night, if I'm honest. I'll be
Yeah.
very surprised. I expect that to be one of the high points of the night, and I'll be very surprised if it isn't. So I'm certainly really looking forward to it, and that's a friggin' undercard match for Christ's sake.
It's crazy. It's
You know,
crazy. Two
it
more
is.
matches I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
I would keep the last match for the last, because for me it's like two-sided ways. I want to hear your
Okay.
opinion. In the first match is Leonidas. Uh, this guy can be really dangerous for everybody if he manages to connect all his strengths together. I
Yeah,
think he's just not connected.
it's
That's it.
very interesting in it because he's clearly a very powerful guy.
Yeah.
He is giving away so much experience here to Alex in terms of just arm wrestling knowledge, proficiency. And Alex is a big, he's a big boy, really big. People don't often talk about the guy's natural size, and he's
Mm.
being a young man, but he is maturing.
And he's
And
also super strong, arm
oh
wrestling
yeah,
specific.
really strong and really good, you know. And I do wonder whether Leonidas has managed to close up the gaps, close up those technical holes. I would think that it's a big difference in terms of arm wrestling proficiency.
Yeah.
I think Alex is way ahead there. Power? Is the gap that big? Is Leonidas that much stronger? I don't know. And so for that reason, I do give the edge to Schoolboy, to Alex.
I didn't think like that.
Yeah, I think that Alex should win this match. I would be, I mean, a lot of people have got this for Leonidas. Maybe I haven't got the experience with Leonidas on the table. I've not pulled with him at all. I would be interested to. I'd like to see where he's at technically. I thought he was very impressive with Larry. Larry's strong, but Larry does have some technical holes under the bright lights right now. Larry, I feel like he's, in some respects, been fed to the wolves a little bit. You know, he's never had that time to cut his teeth properly, and yet he's got so much spotlight on him everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
And some of me, I feel sorry for Larry. I feel like Larry deserves a second go around where when he can get really get his head wrapped around the sport and the experience in that kind of environment, when he's got the ability to relax into his position, to find a spot and don't worry about it. And I feel like you could still see in the match with him and Leonidas that there was a lot of horsepower and a degree of familiarity with sport, but it looked a little clunky. There was still some big holes there. And those are the kind of holes that if they haven't been closed up and there's not a significant strength gap, that it's going to show up against Alex, because Alex will cut through that.
I don't think the technical gaps are closed, because I think with everyone Leonidas trains, he's stronger. And that's the problem. That's the problem, you know. He can't get better technically when he's stronger than everybody, you know. He can train his technique, but not with power, you know. And then
it may be he shuts a lane down and exposes Alex, but I don't know. I don't see it. I think I'd be surprised from what I've heard of Alex's progression. I'd be surprised if he can't capitalize on one of those holes at some point. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's possible for both to win. And if Leonidas wins, I think it's gonna be like against Larry, with the like cup and hanging down and you know, pulling down. You know what I mean? And open his arm. Because I think the weakest part in Alexander's chain is I think inside. His arm, for sure. And then if he opens his arm too much, and he can,
the lever long enough is there, but not the fulcrum strong enough.
Yeah, I don't know. We will see. We will see. We will see. Interesting match.
Very.
And the final match, Irakli and Sasho.
Wow. I mean,
for me,
Sasho last time out, no problem. Very different Irakli. Very different Irakli. Kind of feel like Irakli was wanting this match, because he's spoken to me about this a couple of times over there, you know, as had Zurab previously, you know. And I'm interested to see this, but I always think in terms of the frame and size of the individual, there is a real disparity here.
Yes.
And I feel like that every guy has an optimum. And I'm interested to see how big Sasho is when he comes in, how heavy he is. Because Sasho's I mean, he's like Ram, man. He's just the dude is a little rock, isn't he? So powerful. So powerful. I mean, and
4 times last time. And we wanted to test him in the lobby after matches. Neil, I weigh like 100, 105. I hanged myself on his arm, and he was like holding me like this.
He's so strong, isn't he?
It's unbelievable.
And you can see the guy. Look at the pedigree of the guys that he shuts out in the past. I mean, he's got a massive winning record and a shutout against Yevgeny Prudnik, who is one of my favorite arm wrestlers of all time. You know, and yet Sasho shuts him down. Sasho is a very, very hard man to beat, and so unorthodox. His style is so unorthodox. His timing is kind of weird. It's kind of a little offbeat timing that he's got there, and that can create problems. And for me, there is always a frailty with Irakli, because he's so focused to the top roll. He's so harnessed to that, and that can give problems. I think that the size is massively in his. I think this is a better weight that they're meeting at for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's very, very focused on trying to finish this thing quick,
Yeah.
trying to just put it out of sight. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the brakes go on at any point that Sasho can do something here. I think it's narrower than people think. I think a lot of people have got Irakli easy.
No.
I think it's no bum. I think he's going to have to work to get through him. He may
Mm.
win, but he's going to have to bleed to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the upset and Sasho win again.
Mm. For
Wouldn't be
me, it
surprised.
wouldn't be an upset. I don't have the match like for nobody. I'm my opinion 50-50. Great match. I'm super looking forward to it. Besides I mean, I can't say besides the Devon and Levan match, this is the match I'm looking forward the most. I'm looking forward to see all the matches.
It's easier to define, isn't it? This one.
Yeah.
It's one of those where Irakli got to finish quick.
Yeah.
He's got to put it to bed. If at any point there's any kind of wrist integrity and this thing stops, Sasha all day. So it's just who gets what they want. But again, undercard for Christ's sake. I mean,
crazy.
card's nuts. Absolutely nuts. The thing is stacked from top to bottom with
was hard to pick an opener for this
it's
event.
ace. I mean, you've got Nerdalette and Samusha as an undercard. It's a great match. It's a great match. You've got Hermes and Aljan. I mean, for fuck's sake.
My friend, or no? What do you think?
What a ridiculous match that is. What a match that is.
This is
on the undercard. What a match. Mate, the card is sick. It's absolutely ridiculous. We got on the fix this Sunday, we got myself, as well as the fix crew. We got myself, Devon, Levan, and Engin. That could go off. We're only a couple of weeks out, and it's been pretty quiet, pretty still waters up to now, hasn't it? So let's see.
So quiet,
mate.
So quiet.
It's going to be a bristling 2 weeks. Yeah, not long now, man.
I think this is going to be the groundbreaker, and then the trash talk starts.
Yeah, it's been a different approach, hasn't it? There's a real area. There's a real air of
respect and
yeah. There really has real focus here.
Levan is talking more, in my opinion.
He is, and I think from Devon's perspective, there's more of a. You can see how serious he is here.
Yes, it's crazy.
Very businesslike.
I would love to sit down and talk with him like with you, but after everything is finished.
Sure.
This is to see, because last time he was like, also after the event, you could see he was like aftermath from everything, and like too many messages, and everybody wants to come, and everybody overwhelming and stuff. So yeah,
it's going to be a very, very interesting night, and the flow of the night I think will matter as well. The energy in the room I think will matter a great deal. And also I think the couple of days, the build up, that couple of days in Turkey, the days before, will be very important. Certainly in the Hermes match, there was so much that went on in that little space of time, 2-3 days beforehand. So many changes, the ebb and flow, the spiritual ebb and flow between the athletes, and you could feel it. You can feel it. You can feel. Sometimes, I don't know, it's almost like you know what I mean? You get a feeling as an athlete. You get out there and you just feel good, or you just feel like something's off. And it can mess with you. And this is so public. Everybody's going to be crawling all over these guys, asking them those little questions. I'm going to try and shut the cup and just watch, just observe, just take it in a little. Don't get a chance to do that a great deal, so I'm going to try to do a little bit. We'll just have a beer and chill.
Great times like last time.
Yes, mate. Absolutely.
When are you coming down to Istanbul?
Probably, I'll be there by Thursday, I would think.
Mm.
I don't know exactly when, but I'll be there by Thursday. I'd like to get out there by Thursday for sure.
We already booked the flights because the flights are like getting every day like 50 euros more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have so much flights, you know.
Yeah,
We found the perfect flight there and perfect flight back. We
that's
come a
what you
little
need.
bit earlier on Thursday and we don't fly back so early because when we stayed up
Hmm.
the last day, like Saturday, you don't sleep, you know.
No.
So
Oh, then you feel like
it's
shit for a week. Yeah, I know that one. Oh, big time. Big time.
Neil, you don't know what happened last time. We everything finished, event finished, and we go to the airport. Neil, this is crazy. We go to the airport, and we were like six guys,
Mhm.
and we were like going with two taxis. One taxi, me, Dennis, and one other friend. We came all together, and we had like a big baggage, and we
Hmm.
had to wait to check in with the bag.
Yep.
The other three guys come, and I was like, where are these guys? We already are checking in, you know. And they're
Mhm.
like, hey, there we are. And I was like, wait for us, we just want to check the bag, to give the bag, and we're all gonna go together. No, we're gonna go and we will wait for you there. Okay, we look at the monitors, gate 540, I think. We go to gate 540, nobody there, like two women, and then people are coming,
Hmm.
like a group of people. They're nowhere to be seen. We get in the bus. I call them. Nobody picks up. And
Oh,
and
jeez.
Mario picks up, and I was like, "Bro, where are you guys? We're going in the bus. The bus drives us to the plane." He's like, "Bro, we missed the gate on the cards. Like the plane tickets is one
Okay.
gate, but we looked on the monitor and we gone to the gate like what was on the monitor."
Oh.
Neil, we go in the plane. Everybody's there. The three guys nowhere to be seen. The stewardess.
Doing the
I
whole.
was like, hey, wait, stop. Three guys are not here. Our guys are not here. And she's like, okay, and like talking with the phone and everything. We everybody waits for them. And all of a sudden, like a small bus stops. Mario, just two guys come in the plane. You know,
Who
I
the
was
bloody
like,
hell was the
where's the
third one?
third guy? Where's the third guy? And I stand up. She again, like with the mask and stuff, and I was like, please, just a second. And I go to guy, where is David? And he's like, bro, he lost his passport.
Oh, shut up.
He is alone. He's 20 years old. He is, I think, flight the first time in his whole life. Istanbul, bro. We can't reach him. And I was like, should I go out or should I? And he was like, no, bro, don't worry. He will figure it out. We fly, 2 hours flight. We arrive in Vienna. I call him. He doesn't pick up. We call him like for 2, 3 hours. I'm like sick. I don't know what's happening. 3 hours later, I get a video from him. He sits like this, bro, I'm alive. I call him and I was like, bro, what the fuck? What are you
Where
sending me
was he?
videos? He was like, he lost his passport. They canceled his flight. He had like because they gone through all the controls and then he
Okay.
lost the passport and they had to cancel the flight because he didn't fly with us, you know. He thought they canceled his passport and he can't come back. Arguing with everybody there. They don't speak English so good. He is angry,
That is
crazy.
the
They
worst.
throw him out of the airport. He
What
goes with
the?
taxi. It was crazy. He was like mad, punches in the glass. I don't know. It's crazy. They throw him out of the airport. He drives with a taxi to another airport. They take 200 euros for taxi. They would bankrupt him. He was like he had for the plane ticket home and that's it. And he bought the plane ticket like 400-500 euros. He spent like
He found his
700.
passport.
He found his passport
Ah, Jesus.
and he came back this day like
Mate, I bet he can't wait to go back again.
he was like, I'm never going back to Istanbul.
Never. I don't care what match he's on.
he
The
was
match.
he's like huge Levan fan, and he wanted to come to support Levan, but yeah, with work stuff and this is one factor because which he don't want to go back, but it's like we have a bet, me and him. If Devon wins, because he's for 100% sure Levan wins. And I told him, bro, when Devon wins, if Devon wins,
his rubber match,
you tattoo here, no limits on your arm.
Is he going to do it?
He's going to do it. And he tells me, bro, but what are you tattooing if Levan wins? And I was like, whatever you want. He's like, I want you to tattoo the cat that Devon has on the biceps here.
You're going to do the cat?
I was like, bro, let's do this. Let's do this. No problems, my friend. I'm really believing in this match.
There you go, mate. High stakes stuff.
High stakes stuff.
You need to be on the phone to that Canadian, don't you? Don't fuck this up.
Devon, I don't want the cat on my biceps. No, it would be a memory for me also, you know, for David, for the whole event and stuff, if it happens. But I think no limits is coming on his arm here.
Yeah. It's there are going to be a lot of people betting heavy on this one, mate.
Yes.
A lot of people betting heavy. No more so than the two guys who are going to be at the table. Yeah. High stakes.
High stakes. High stakes. Neil, we're in 2 hours now. I could talk with you for days.
We can do it again, mate. We can do it again for sure. But
we will see each other at Istanbul and talk more. But
100%.
It was great. Thank you very much for your
time.
Thank
you for the invite, Alex. Thank you for having me on, mate. Really appreciate it. And I hope everybody enjoys the show. If you tune in and checking it out, make sure you subscribe to Lion Pride. This guy's awesome.
Thank you very much. I will send you the video from the gender reveal party at Saturday to see what it will be. I mean,
class. I'm very best of luck. As long as you have a healthy child, mate.
Yeah, that's the most
best
important
times
thing.
ever. Best times ever coming.
Neil, thank you very much. I wish you a good night. I don't know how late you have it.
It is about about 10:30 now. But thank you very much for the show, and hope everybody enjoys it. Yeah, we're only a couple of days away. Almost showtime.
Almost showtime. Neil, see you in 2 weeks.